The Astros had the Twins over a barrel. Why? Because when the Twins are trying to get rid of a player, Correa, and there's only one team, then how do you negotiate that? Where's the leverage? I guess you could hold on to Correa, but then you owe him about $100+ million. And the Twins were saying to himself, that's a whole lot of squeeze, and I can't get 2 drops of juice. So you negotiate with the Houston Astros, and you come to a conclusion. You want to split it. Let Houston pay 50 and you'll pay 50. That seems like a good idea. And then you leak to the media if you're the Astros, we're not giving $50 million. We are not paying that amount of money. We're just not going to do it. And then the deal dies. And then the Astros say, well, hold on a second. We got to do stuff. The Mariners and the Rangers are doing stuff. All right, let's call Minnesota before the deadline. Here's what we need. If you would only give us 30 million, then we'll do it. And Minnesota said 30 million. We get to save 30 million. Okay. Done. And Carlos Correa was an Astro just like that. And people were criticizing the Minnesota Twins, saying it's the worst fire sale. I'm canceling my season tickets. And you got a bunch of stats there. The Twins parted ways with 11 players, 8 of them on deadline day off their active roster. 40% of their roster traded, including the 5 best relievers, the 5 players with 2 or more years of experience and team control remaining, traded. These guys don't know what they're doing. It's quite the opposite, actually. What you know in baseball is being in the middle. That doesn't make sense. If you're going to take a Band-Aid off one hair by one hair, all you're going to feel is pain. If you want to feel a little pleasure, rip it off as fast as you can. Take that acute, sharp shot right to the multiple clumps of hair, and then it goes away. Don't bleed to death, 1 drop at a time. Why would the Twins have done this? Because they are not in a position to win this year. Well, they're only 4.5 out of the wild card. They got a shot. It takes guts and smarts to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And that's what the Twins did, which, of course, led to discussions. I know why the Twins did this, because they needed to lower payroll because they're in debt. And if you're in debt, you got to reduce your debt because you're selling the team. Let me quickly explain the math and the economics of that. When you are in debt, that means that you're not underwater. It means you have a team worth $1.5 billion. You've got $440 million in debt. That means when you sell the team and someone gives you $1.5 million, you give 440 of it to pay the bank back, and you take 1.1 roughly, and you have that as your money. That's the general way. Same way when you sell a house. Same concept. When you give away your refrigerator and downgrade to a smaller area fridge, or you have a toilet that is a Toto toilet that warms your coccyx, and then you go to a regular Kohler, do you take the difference in money between the Toto and the Kohler, or the difference between a 5-star fridge and a regular sort of fridge? Do you take that money and do you pay down your mortgage with it? Of course you don't. You take that money and you use it for other expenses you have, or to go on a trip, or whatever it is you want that money to be used for. You don't prepay your mortgage. The Minnesota Twins didn't take the savings they got from Carlos Correa, call up the bank and say, hey, over the next 3 years, we're going to have an extra $10 million a year. So if you don't mind, we're going to pay you back right now. You're still paying the monthly mortgage, the monthly taxes on your house, same rate. Same with teams that have debt. You're paying back the banks at a monthly rate. That is part of what's called your debt service, and you have it in your budget, an annual debt service split over 12 months of payments to the bank. The thought that the Minnesota Twins did this because they had to, because of the sale of the team, is absolutely incorrect. The reason the Minnesota Twins did this is they felt their roster was not sufficient. And therefore, if we are going to succeed as a low payroll team, the only way to do it is to lean into the valleys in order to enjoy the possibility of the top.